It was a cold and silent night when Ethan, a late-night traveler, found himself standing at an old, almost forgotten train station. The clock struck midnight, and the streets around him were eerily quiet, as if the world had paused. Ethan was no stranger to long journeys, but tonight felt different. There was an unsettling presence in the air, a sense of something lurking just beyond his understanding. He glanced at the schedule board. Only one train was listed. The train was supposed to arrive at precisely 12 a.m. A faint sound echoed through the station. Soft, rhythmic, the unmistakable sound of an approaching train. Ethan glanced down the track, but there was nothing in sight. He squinted into the dark night. Then, from the fog, it appeared. A train unlike any other. Black as night, its windows obscured with grime, and its wheels screeching against the rails in a haunting melody. It was the midnight train. Ethan stepped forward, compelled by an unknown force. The doors of the midnight train opened, creaking loudly as if beckoning him. He hesitated for only a moment, but the station around him seemed to grow colder and more distant, as if the world was pulling away. There was no choice but to board. As he stepped inside, the air inside the train was stale, thick with the smell of old wood and metal. The interior looked ancient, as though it hadn't been touched in years, yet the seats were perfectly intact. The low murmur of whispers seemed to swirl around him as the train began to move, although no one else was in sight. He looked out the window, nothing but pitch-black darkness. No stars, no moon, just a void. As the midnight train rumbled through the night, Ethan started to feel uneasy. He wasn't sure what it was, but something was wrong. The further they traveled, the more distorted the surroundings seemed. The clock on the wall stopped ticking. The train continued its journey, but it felt as though time itself had come to a halt. A sudden cold breeze swept through the carriage, and the whispers grew louder, more distinct. Ethan strained to listen but couldn't make out any words. All at once, the train's lights flickered and dimmed. It was as if the very train was alive. Alive with secrets. Alive with something far older and darker than he could comprehend. Then, as the train passed through a tunnel, he saw something in the reflection of the window. Figures. Figures standing outside the train, shrouded in darkness, their faces twisted with agony, reaching out as if they were trying to board. Ethan could feel the train shifting, as if someone was watching him. He walked down the narrow aisle, trying to find any other passengers, but the train was still empty. He took a seat near the back, but that's when he saw it. His own reflection in the polished brass of a nearby railing. The figure in the reflection was smiling at him, but it wasn't him. It was an unfamiliar, sinister version of himself, its eyes wide with terror. His heart raced as he turned to face the rest of the carriage. The seats were now filled with passengers. Faint, translucent shapes that flickered like dim, ghostly lights. Their faces were twisted in fear, their mouths agape in silent screams. He tried to call out to them, but no sound left his mouth. The train's whistle pierced the silence as it approached the end of its journey. The train slowed, and a foggy, desolate station came into view. The platform was shrouded in mist, and nothing could be seen beyond it, as if the world itself ended there. The doors of the train opened with a screech. Ethan was drawn toward them, as if something inside him knew he had no choice but to step out. As he did, he noticed a small sign at the station, barely visible in the mist. It read simply, "This is the last stop." The eerie whispers grew louder, as if the station was calling him to stay, to never leave. The fog rolled in, thick and suffocating, and the world beyond the station vanished. Ethan tried to turn back, but the train was already gone. The midnight train had left, and he was now trapped in a place where time didn't exist. And so, the midnight train continues its endless journey through the darkened night, its passengers forever trapped between worlds. The ones who got off are never seen again, their fates sealed in the fog. The train waits for the next soul willing to board, to face its terrifying destination, one that no one can return from. Ethan's name is now just another whispered tale, told to those brave enough to wait at the station at midnight, those who dare to listen but never leave.